Yes, and I believe we in live now. Good evening, Marty. Good evening, Liran. How are you guys?
Hello.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Before we moving forward, I just want to enter to Amazon Nonstop group, the group that we are broadcasting in, and to check that people can see and hear us. And I didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, people can see us, and we're starting the live. Which title is Perpetual Present the Benchmark, one of the newest and most interesting tools. So guys, before we will start to talk about the benchmark, I want to thank you both for cleaning your schedule and being here. Liran, it's not your first time, but still we appreciate each time like it was the first time. So thank you for that. And Marty, this is your first time. Yes. And we both a little bit excited because, you know, it's like I'm new host for you, you're new guest for us, and we're going to talk about a new tool that everybody excited about. So it's going to be very interesting. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for being here. By the way, Marty, where are you broadcasting from?
I'm broadcasting from Berlin right now.
From Berlin right now. So yes. Your time zone is pretty similar to Israeli time zone, right?
Yeah, we're 1 hour behind you.
So it's like 8 p.m.?
Yes.
Great. So we didn't have to wake you early in the morning. No. Okay, but Liran, where are you now? New York?
New York, yeah. So 2 p.m., 2 in the afternoon. So, yeah, you know, אולי אני יושן, בין 2 ו-4 אני יושן.
Like all the Ashkenazis, Jews, you need to sleep between 2
Between 2 to 4, siesta, you know?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So I can see that Eran Elimelech, good evening to Eran, wrote to us the good night, and Hanit, as usual, one of the first. Hey guys, looking great. She's talking about you guys. And okay, guys, I see that we have enough viewers, and all the people who a little bit late will join us later. And I think it's a good time to start to talk business. So Marty, who are you, where are you coming from, and what we are going to talk about tonight?
Yeah, so my name is Marty Saunders. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the United States, and I have been out here in Berlin for about 3 years. And I work for Perpetua as a PPC expert and as an advertising analyst. Okay. And so, yeah, I'm just here today to talk to you about one of Perpetua's newest free tools to help sellers on Amazon understand how their advertisements are performing.
Super interesting. And Liran Hirschkon, I think that most of our viewers know who are you, but still, I would like to hear that again.
Sure. So I've been in the Amazon space since 2014. And today I focus on 2 things, Incrementum Digital. We help sellers with their manage their advertising, DSP, listing optimization, Google Ads, influencer marketing, all driving traffic into Amazon. And then I'm also an advisor with 8Fig, which helps you get growth capital.
Yeah, great. And tonight you're at in the spot of a user of the benchmark.
Yeah. So we use Perpetua for as our main ad management tool. So we've been using it for 3 years, and so I can answer a lot of questions more on the Perpetua side. But I did have a chance to also check out the benchmarker tool as well. I thought it was pretty cool. So I'd love to also learn more about it and answer any questions if there are on advertising.
So without giving any spoilers about the tool, we will let to Marty to start and talk and make some kind of demo to the benchmark tool. And guys, I just want to remind to the audience, you can write any question in the chat. We prefer like questions that related to Amazon and to PPC, but still you can write whatever you want. Of course, to make more people enjoy this webinar, you can share that live, that broadcast to other groups or just on your personal profile. It would help to our group and to other people knowledge. And of course, after the demo, Liran will stay here and we can talk about PPC in general. So it's going to be interesting as usual. And Marty, I think it's a good time to start. I will share your screen and you are live now.
Great. So basically, just to start top level for why we developed this tool, Amazon advertising continues to get more and more complex. And with the growing complexity in the space, we at Perpetua wanted to help advertisers answer a very simple question. And that is, how are my Amazon ads performing? And so that's basically why we developed the Perpetua benchmarker. And it's a free monthly report that you get. You can go to just sellex.com and analyze my products to request your free report. You may be asking, why do I have to go to sellex.com to get the Perpetua benchmarker? That's because Sellex and Perpetua are joining forces. And Sellex had originally developed this tool, and now it is part of the Perpetua family. So anyways, it's a monthly report. And what it helps you do is understand how your Amazon ads are doing. And so I have a demo right here that I'm going to walk you through to help you understand how you can use this report to amplify your Amazon performance. So what I'll do is I'll just start up at the top here. Basically, what you'll see when you get your first report is the name of your company and the date range for which the data analyzed is. So basically, whenever you get your first report, it will be for the previous month. So say if you were to request a report today on June 14th, within 24 to 48 hours, you'll get your first report. And the data that's presented and analyzed in that report would be from May, so the previous month. So basically, you just see the scope of the report up here, the marketplace. So we're looking at a demo for the United States. And you basically also just see a top level of our overall account score. And one cool little tip here is basically that you can get a certificate that shows how well you've done, and you can share that certificate on LinkedIn or on Facebook. Or you can copy a URL to send it to colleagues, your boss, if you're looking to impress, to show them how well you've done with advertising on Amazon. Okay, so back to the report. So basically here at the top, what you see is an overall summary of your account. And what you can see just at a glance are the best performing KPIs and the worst performing KPIs. And so for this specific demo account, we can see that the best performing KPI was conversion rate, which went up 4%. And the worst performing was advertising cost of sale, or ACOS, which went up 19.1%. So again, basically right here, what you can do is just see, okay, top level, how am I doing? And it's important to mention here that basically you can look at this data in two different ways. You can look at it month over month, so to see how you did compared to the previous month, or you can look at it compared to benchmarks. And benchmarks are basically based on the performance of other sellers in your marketplace and subcategory. And you can just change by clicking this little radio button here.
So, Marty, I have a question just to jump in.
Sure, yeah.
So on the subcategory part, how does that take it into account? Does it look at like the top selling product and take that subcategory? Some people have, products from different subcategories. Like, do you know how it's looking at it?
Yeah, definitely. So what Sellex did is we did a big study involving over 2.5 billion in ad spend. And basically what we did is we came up with performance benchmarks for basically what is a good CTR, what is a good CVR. And the reason that we look at the subcategory level data is because performance data varies widely across different categories. So for example, if you're selling electronics, a good CVR is going to be very different from a seller who's selling, say, clothing or makeup or something like that. Right. So basically, the data comes from an internal Sellex study.
Right. But the question I'm asking is, if I'm connecting my accounts and I have 5 different products and they're in 5 different categories, does Sellex take the benchmark from the top selling product, or how does it understand what benchmark marker to use if I'm in multiple categories?
So basically, what the report does is, we're kind of jumping ahead here, but there's a product analysis section. And so basically, it'll just go down onto an individual product level. You'll be able to see, like, say I've got this office chair here, you know, and then it will compare it to the benchmark in the home and office furniture category. If you have something else, you'll be able to look at it down here on the individual product level as well.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yep.
But by the way, Marty, everybody can get the access to the demo, or it's just for you?
Yeah, we just use this to kind of show off the tool. I mean, really the easiest way is just to request the report. It's free. It takes 24 to 48 hours. So
no, I'm just asking for these people that just starting their first campaign now with the first product, and they just want to try the system. So I just wanted to know if they have the opportunity to see all the features.
Yeah, as far as I know, this.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. Yeah. So, you know, basically top level here, you can quickly identify what your best and worst performing KPIs are. And then right below in this next section, you have your performance funnel and your ROI. And so this is a really powerful part of the tool, because basically what you see here are all of your metrics and how they all come together to create your KPIs, like the big 4 KPIs, right? So the KPIs that people are most often looking at are ACoS, cost per click, conversion rate, and click-through rate. And so here you basically just see visualized in a very natural and easy to understand way how all of those KPIs are calculated and what metrics go into them. So for example, impressions, the total number of times your ad is shown times click-through rate is equal to clicks. Clicks times conversion rate is equal to orders. Orders times average order value is equal to ad sales. Clicks times cost per click is equal to ad spend. And of course, ad spend over ad sales is equal to your ACoS. And so this is just a really easy and a really powerful way to visualize all of your different metrics and your KPIs and to see what's happening in your account. So I can just pause here really quickly if you have any other questions before I keep going, but otherwise I'll just kind of walk you through how to use this to really drill down to see where you need to optimize.
For me, it was great and very clear. So I will check if we have any question from the audience, and I think that everything is okay. We can
the metrics here, you can look at them both on a month over month or on a benchmark.
Yeah.
Based on how you toggle the top.
Exactly. Yeah. So just by hitting the radio button.
So the ACoS change, for example.
Yeah, because it's comparing it to a performance benchmark for the subcategory as opposed to the previous month.
Okay, got it. And what is the orange indicator?
So this basically follows kind of something similar to like a traffic light pattern. So green would mean that you're doing well, that you're either, well, depending on the metric, either above. Green means that you're doing well. Orange means that it's kind of okay. And red means that you're doing, you could use some optimization.
Good way to phrase it. Good way to phrase it.
Yeah. And I will get more in depth into these down in the product analysis section, because there's basically a performance distribution that you can see and see where you are. So, for ACoS, obviously, if it's red, it means you're above the benchmark, like you're too high. But for a metric like conversion rate, right? If you're above the benchmark, that's good, so red would be below. So it depends on the metric, but generally speaking, it's kind of intuitive. So red means, you should check it out and do some optimization. It's something that needs some work. Right. Green means you're in good shape, and orange means, it's something that could probably use some attention.
Got it.
Yeah. So anyways, so let's say, you get your report and you see something here like, oh, wow, my ACoS went up 20%. That's something that's going to be a red flag for any advertiser. What you can do is really start to work your way back through the performance funnel to identify the biggest problem areas. So for example, we can go down and look and see that ad spend was up 10%. You can just see that down here, 11.1%. Ad sales were down by 6.7%. I personally would go and look at the bigger number because, changes around 5%, as long as they're not continuous, can just kind of be noise in the data. And so we can work our way back here and see that, okay, our CPC went up 18.5%. That's a lot. And what you can do is you can just click here and it takes you to the next section of the report. And so what this section of the report is the impact driver analysis. And all this does is it shows you the products that are having the biggest impact, both positive and negative, on your advertising. And it's really intuitive. I mean, some people look at a waterfall chart and are kind of like, what am I looking at? Again, it's basically red is something that needs work and green is something that's doing well. So red in this instance would be the products driving negative impact. Green would be the products driving positive impact. And the size of the bar is basically proportional to the size of the impact. So the biggest red bar here is the product that's having the largest negative impact and the product that you would want to optimize for CPC. And
one thing to note also is it's important to look at your total sales too. And I know it's not in here because probably pulling the advertising API, I'm assuming, and maybe not MWS, but if your ad sales are down, you should look at your total sales as well, because if your ad sales are up and your total sales are down, you could be moving sales from organic to paid, right, on certain keywords if you're too aggressive. So it's important to understand also in context your total sales, and then try to understand, why some of those metrics are happening. In that case, cost per click is up, so that could also be part of the story. But it's important to also look at your organic sales to try to understand what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. And total ACOS is a great way to do that.
Right.
And yeah, that's definitely. And so basically so you can really easily identify here the products that need to be optimized for cost per click. So this is the one that has the biggest impact. You can just work your way down the size of the bars. So some people don't like waterfall charts, and one of the most user-friendly things about this tool is that there are lots of different ways to slice and dice the data. So for example, you can look at it from the perspective of a waterfall chart. There's also a table view, and with all of these metrics here, you can filter. So you can just change, so, okay, like where was the smallest impact on CPC? Which product am I spending the most on? And, of course, you can toggle between the biggest gainers and losers. Gainers are products that are doing well or that are having a positive impact. Losers are the ones that are having a negative impact. And in addition to the table view, there's also a tree map. And so the tree map is similar basically to the waterfall chart in the sense that the size of the block is proportional to the size of the impact. So the largest red block will have the largest negative impact. The largest green one will be the positive one. And so it's just a really quick and easy way to figure out, okay, like so my CPC isn't doing well. What products are driving this change? And so it's taking a lot of the guesswork out of your optimization.
Right. And, thinking from putting on my customer/agency hat is, if you are outsourcing your PPC, it's even more important, right, to have something like this so that you can understand how to work with whoever is managing your ads on like what's going on and where they may need to make some changes. So
yeah, definitely. And it's just a great way to keep track of where the work's going, and if it's going where where it looks like it should be. So it's really a way to make data-driven decisions.
Yeah.
As opposed to just kind of guessing.
Right.
And one great thing I think is just that this automatically comes into your inbox. You don't have to download any reports. You don't have to work with any spreadsheets. You don't have to create your own charts. It's like Perpetua does all that work for you. By providing this report. And so I think that's where a lot of the value is added here, is that you don't have to do the legwork to create all this yourself. And so you can do that basically for any metric, for any KPI. So if you want to look at, say, clicks, you just click again, and you can toggle through the same views. For conversion rate, the same story. And so it's just a really easy way to drill down to figure out where you need to do some work on optimizing. And another great thing about this tool is that you're never really alone. So there's a lot built in. So like there are video tutorials, there are tool tips, that there are lots of different resources. And a great place where that's all brought together is here on the right-hand side. There's this menu over here. You can look at videos of basically people explaining how to use each section. We also have written guides. So there's a complete guide. There's a quick start guide with just the top 3 things you can do. And we also have, our best in class, kind of industry leading reports on Amazon PPC and sponsored products, for all different levels of advertisers. So there's really something for everyone here. And it's kind of like an Amazon ads geek dream is kind of like the tagline that I would personally add to this, just because, if you really like to get in down and dirty and, do some analytics yourself, this is an awesome tool. There's a glossary, if there's any terms you come across that you're not familiar with. So there's definitely a lot here to support you in analyzing your advertising.
Interesting.
So, I can pause here really quickly if there are any questions just about these first 2 sections.
Let me check. No, we can go forward.
Okay, great. And so this kind of gets back to your question about, how do we compare individual products to benchmarks? So once we go down here into the product analysis section, so this table will show your top 100 products with at least 1 impression. And, what we're looking at here are the big 4 KPIs within your subcategory and how your performance compares to other sellers in your subcategory. So, basically, as I said before, a red dot means that you need some work. So for example, for ACOS, it means that your ACOS is above the category benchmark. So here you can see in the performance distribution, 20.9% would be the median. And if you're at 23.62, that means that, you're above that and you want to try to bring that down.
One sort of, I guess, caveat or for those that don't know, caveat like warning or something I would add to this is that you want to understand the category that you're competing in, right? So if I'm selling an office chair and most of my competitors are big name brands, they probably have a lot of branded searches. And as a result, they have probably a low ACOS. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to take it too much. Like if I have a generally good ACOS, which I would consider, let's say 23% a good ACOS, I would say I wouldn't pay as much attention to the category data because I'm thinking probably there's some name brand competitors that I might be competing with, and that I need to kind of understand that. If I'm selling a doormat, chances are I'm not competing with, like, let's say, name brands. The other thing that you want to pay attention to is obviously your product and reviews compared to competitors, right? Because if you have 100 reviews, and the average in your category is, or average on page 1 is, 1,000, then you're also not going to have as good numbers. So like, it's important to understand the context of the numbers, in comparison,
yeah, definitely,
you might be being compared to.
Definitely. And another thing is there are certain situations in which you might be comfortable, or you may even want to have
right.
a high ACOS. So for example, if you're launching a product or something like that, and you're really trying to get traction, you have to make investments in order for the investments to pay off sometimes. And so like that's an example. Or if you're just trying to take market share, so yeah, I mean, I totally agree with your point. You need to look at the numbers in context. And looking at the benchmark is definitely one piece of the puzzle, but you also have to think about your individual goals, and what you're trying to do with the ads for the specific product and where the specific product fits into your portfolio. But so yeah, definitely. And so yeah, in addition to ACOS, we have conversion rate, we have click-through rate, we have CPC. And so say you're like, okay, I really want to do click-through rate click-through rate optimizations for my portfolio. I want to see which products need the most work. You can just filter here to get the ones that are above, that are, performing not as well as you'd like, and that are below the benchmark, and just get a quick list of where you can do your work. And
just to jump in, sorry.
No, please.
It's okay. I'll be adding my commentary as you go.
No, I enjoy the conversational
Okay,
back
great.
and forth in format.
So, I think important to focus on, ACoS, conversion, cost per click, all those things, but click-through rate is really a function of your placement, okay? So if you're at the top of search, you may have a 2% click-through rate. If you are not bidding much, or if you're on product pages, you're going to have a lower click-through rate. So I generally don't pay a lot of attention to click-through rate because typically it's a function of placement and how much I'm bidding. And so, if I'm bidding low, not going to be I'm probably going to have a lower click-through rate. If I'm at top of search and nobody's clicking, and I have a low click-through rate, that's a different story. But I think it's also important to understand for people that click-through is a function of where Amazon is placing you. And even if you're running, if you're in a search term keyword campaign, Amazon shows you on ASINs, right? Does ASIN targeting.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing ASIN targeting, Amazon shows you on keywords. So it's also important to look at your placement and see where you're getting the impressions and the spend, because that's also going to influence your click-through rate. So it's important to understand, like, sometimes, we'll have a client coming to us and say, how come you're not spending more on ASINs? Like, ASIN campaign is killing it. It's, 20% ACoS. And then we show them that actually most of the spend is actually going to keywords and it's not ASINs, right? So it's important to dig in and also understand, like, click through. It's not that critical if you're not looking at your placements.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that would impact your click-through rate that you would want to be aware of is just to make sure that, your keywords are optimized and that you're bidding on the right keywords that are, a good match for your product. So for example, if you're selling like cooking knives or whatever, and for some reason there's like a hunting knife keyword coming up in the keywords you're bidding on, obviously, if you're displaying, an ad for kitchen knives and there's somebody who wants to buy a hunting knife, they're not going to be clicking on your ad.
Right.
So keywords are also another piece of the puzzle to pay attention to there.
Definitely.
Yeah. So basically, you can really easily identify the products that need work based on the KPI, and you can also just, again, filter by by sales, by ad spend. If you want to see where you're investing the most money and start that way. And there are more filters up here. So you can say, I only want to see products that I'm spending, like more than 540 on and that have, at least 20 orders. And so you can really easily drill down to see which products meet the criteria that you're interested in optimizing for.
It's especially good if you have a large catalog.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And again, this is just, I think it's a good a PPC geek stream. I really do like it because, there's just a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it. So continuing to move down, I think this is probably the last part of the tool that I'll cover. But this gets into your account structure. So basically what you can do is you can see how the way in which you've set up your campaigns compares to high performing sellers in your marketplace and subcategory. So basically you can look at stuff like ad groups per campaign, ASINs per ad group, keywords per ad group. And, we have our recommendations here that you can see. These are general. So for example, for keywords per ad group, we recommend between 5 and 20. There are some exceptions here when you would maybe want to be out of that range. And, we get into kind of the explanation as to why we recommend this in these tooltips here. But this is a really cool way just to get a quick look at and compare, okay, so I've set up my account, I've set up my campaigns. Are they set up in a similar way to people who are doing well? And so it can give you a really top level view of the organization of your account and the structure, and to maybe suggest some ways that you can improve that if you have stuff that maybe doesn't align with what we believe are the best practices. And
what's keywords per ad group? The category benchmark is 9.6 keywords in an ad group.
Yeah, so
average, right?
Yeah, so that's we say, we say average in just common parlance, but really what it is it's the statistical median. So we don't do averages just because outliers can kind of influence that a bit.
Right. But wouldn't you think that the average person running their ads puts more than 9 keywords in an ad group?
We recommend between 5 and 20, for
right.
So
I don't know that the average seller is doing that, so I'm just surprised at the number.
So I mean,
what is your number, Liran?
I would say that we also segment a lot, depending on the search volume. We'll go from 1 keyword campaigns up to maybe 50 long tail keywords in a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But we see a lot of people putting hundreds of keywords in a campaign.
Yeah,
that's why I'm.
It's much harder to control your campaigns.
Yes, but so that number kind of surprises me. Mm-hmm. That's the category benchmark.
Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty wide sampling, but with any type of study, there's always and obviously the number that you're familiar with too. It's just you take a sample and you make it as big as you can, and
right.
Yeah, that's what we've done here to come up with these numbers, and I would say we're confident in our numbers.
Okay, I mean it's a good number because it's a good number. I mean overall to be at.
And the question about the ASINs and ad groups, if like I have a product with a lot of categories, like more than 20, not categories, sorry, variations, yeah, and I want like randomly to advertise, I don't know, 50% of them. Like it's not recommended to create one campaign with few ad groups with multiple ASINs.
I mean, so that basically depends on how similar the keywords are for the ASIN and the KPIs, right? So say you're selling T-shirts, and to group a black and a white T-shirt together would probably not be great, right? Because if somebody's searching for a black T-shirt, right, it could appear for white T-shirts or mm-hmm. something like that. So it really depends on how well the ASINs would basically address the same customer purchase intent.
But I would say based on the number that we're seeing here, people are adding variations to one ad group because the average is 4.8, and right, the category benchmark. And when you think about it, in a lot of situations, people only have one. They don't have variations on the listing. They have one product, so that would bring down the average, right? Which means when people do have variations, the number is probably higher.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, sometimes when people really do this, and it's normally okay, is with like child ASINs. You know what I mean? So different sizes and stuff like that. And so I think that could account for
that's
some of the reasons.
That's what we're talking about. Child ASINs variations, but for us, it really depends on the variation if we group it together or not.
Definitely,
like Marty said, relating to the keywords.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a balancing act to be struck, right? And it's something that's pretty specific to your business, I think. And it has to be you have to do it with some caution. And Marty, obviously,
if you will touch the question mark on the right, mm-hmm. I will get an explanation, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a tooltip here that basically explains, why this is our recommended best practice and what we think is the best thing to do and why.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can always
understand the sense behind all the parameters.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't just throw numbers at people and say you should take this as gospel. We definitely provide an explanation as to why we're doing this. So there's a lot behind this. And actually, if you go to the guide, we have a whole big FAQ section at the end, just about what the benchmarks are based on. Is everything statistically significant? There's definitely a lot here where you can kind of dig in and say, oh, hey, like, I wonder why that is. We definitely provide the resources to back up where we came up with these numbers and these guidelines and, what our thinking is.
Great. So, Liran, Marty, we finished with the last part of the demo, right?
Yeah. I mean, so there are a couple more sections. I'm not going to go through them just because.
Okay, we didn't. Okay, sorry.
But so I've basically covered everything I want to cover. I think what I think are the top 3 sections, the most important things that people would want to be aware of. Again, it's free. It's a free report. You get it monthly, and you can just go to Celix.com to get it. And I think we'll also share a link at the end.
Okay, so I'm going to share the link now on the chat.
Okay, sure.
So I just want to let to all the viewers know that the registration is completely free, right?
Yeah.
You don't offer there some, I don't know.
No.
Okay. So,
no. I totally understand why you're asking. No. I mean, there's no.
No, I just want to make sure for the audience to feel free to go. All the information there for free. You cannot get paid for something and to get more information. What you see, what you get. So it's great.
Exactly, what you see is what
wonderful.
You get.
Yeah. I will take a second to find the link. Yeah, it's some here on the chat with you. You can continue, guys. What I want to ask you, if you have some cases, maybe Julian, that you used the report and it's made your way of thinking about your campaigns to be changed.
Let me show you something interesting, actually.
Yeah, I would like to see. You want to share a screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Marty, I will remove your screen now. It's okay?
Sure. Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm actually just gonna pull out. I'm just gonna download this image just to show you the image, and it's very important to understand your numbers, and it's also very important to understand what's behind the numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this image. I actually did a
okay, one sec. You didn't share anything.
I didn't share it yet. I'm going to share now. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm just trying to locate the link. Okay, I found it. Okay, I'm going to post it now. Okay,
1 second.
Okay, so whoever want to register to that wonderful tool, you can find the link now in the chat, and you're more than welcome to register and to start to use it. It's connected by API, right, Marty?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So everything will be brought automatically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
It couldn't share my one screen. Let me try my other screen. Okay. So
okay,
I'll move this here in front of me.
Okay.
Let me know if you could see it. You could see that.
Yeah. Okay. I can see it.
So actually, I did a challenge for my team today. It'll be hard to understand, but then I'll show you another screenshot after this, and we'll see if somebody can solve the puzzle and why it's important to understand your numbers. So this is a particular brand I was looking at today. And you can see all their numbers. Okay. When we do audits of accounts, we look at the history in the last 12 months to try to understand like the history and the performance of what's happening in the account. And you can see this particular account had their tacos last year, 14, 11, 13. And then this year, pretty much from January on, it's been about, 18 to 20%. Okay. Sales somewhat up. From like last year, they have a Q4 bump increase, but their PPC attributed sales went from last year 30% range. This year immediately to 50, up to 50 to 70% of sales. Okay, so I was trying to understand like what's happening here, and unless you can look at the numbers. But unless you have some kind of history of what's going on with the account and what changes were made, you don't really know how to diagnose what the problem is. And sometimes decisions that you make on the account will impact what is happening. So I'll share one other view with you, and you can tell me if you can figure out what happened here. Which
interesting. Marty, as the analyzer, I think that you're enjoying that game.
Yes. So now I'm going to open another image.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's Marty's. Sorry.
I can stop sharing.
I'm going to open another image. and I'm going to share my screen.
I just want to see if we're getting some answers meanwhile.
Well, once I show you
the T ACOS the total ACOS or the target ACOS?
This was on the side. The total ACOS went from 10 to 20% this year. Okay, so now here's another screen. Okay, that tells you the story. Okay, so when I did further diagnosing of what actually happened here, we can see exactly what happened. So this is the reviews, right? This is a keyword chart, and this is from last year, and this is this year. Okay, you can see the BSR improved. Well, you can also see they had this like big increase in reviews, right?
Yeah.
What do you think happened here? Can anybody in the chat guess what happened?
It's interesting. Usually I can see this like really high jumps, and I never understood what is the reason, because it's review. It's have to be increased really
slowly.
Slowly, yeah.
Correct.
Did the conversion rate increase?
What's that? Nope.
Did the conversion rate increase?
No. So this is the reviews, right? And what happened here on a small level and here is they merged variations, all into one listing. So they're thinking amazing strategy. We're going to go and take like different variations we have and put it all into one listing. Okay. But what happened as a result of that? As a result, they lost real estate. Okay. Because when you merge all the variations, only one of the variations can rank on page 1.
But the rank is improved.
The BSR is improved.
The BSR, yeah.
We combined a bunch of sales all into one BSR. But the overall...
The number of sales?
What's that?
The number of the sales, the revenue?
The revenue also slightly improved, but what happened was they lost organic visibility, because now instead of having 10 different listings that can rank organically, you now only have one ASIN that can show up organically. And so what happened, you can see this was done in January. And if I go back to this image, as soon as January hits, they went from 30% of sales coming from ads to 50 to 60, right?
Beautiful. Yeah.
And this is really, I'm going to stop sharing here, but this is really the importance of looking at the numbers, but then understanding or diving deeper and understanding what's behind the numbers, right? So when I went back and I looked at it, we saw this change. They merged all the variations, and as a result, you could only show one variation with ads on page 1 and one variation and one ASIN organically on page 1. So if there was a major keyword people were searching and they saw 10 different designs of their product, and now they're only seeing one, then they're giving other people that real estate, and the end result was significantly higher PPC sales than before.
So why didn't they separate the variations again?
They just figured it out based on our audit.
Great.
So now that's what the test is. And my advice to them was that what I would do in this case is I would separate all the variations, and then I would look and see what's ranking, what are the reviews of each variation, what are the review count, because the listing itself has thousands of reviews, but how much does each variation end up with? What is the rating? Because right now they're showing 4.5 stars. Does one of the variations show 4 stars, for example? If so, maybe bring it to another one that's better. Also, if one variation is not ranking that well organically, there's no sense in breaking it off. You can add it. But those, out of those 10 variations, if there's 5 or 6 that are ranking really well, I would keep those separate and then maybe add 1 or 2 other variations, to them. But, essentially this is like thinking about, you often do something and you don't think about the potential negative effect that action might have. And this is one of those things that, when I was talking to them, they said, well, everybody recommended to us, merge your things. You can build up more
get more reviews and get better CTR and more sales and everything.
Correctly. And better conversions, and people have a choice, and etc. But they lost organic rank, and they didn't really think about.
It's something to think about. Yeah.
They didn't really think about it. So these are the kind of things that, you know, as you look at data, then you have to understand actually what's happening, dive into it and see what kind of, you know, and now potentially, and actually right now is a really good time for them to make this change because the summer is their slowest season. And, you know, they can sort of test what happens, separating it, you know, and then deciding which variations to add back and what do the sales look like and how they can bring that tacos down and drive more, you know, organic sales. So that's one, you know, one thing I was kind of working on today that I think is good to understand, like the changes that you make and what are the consequences of those changes.
Interesting. So it's really interesting, and let us know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
What will happen with this case?
Yeah, I'll do an update, you know, on this. And you know, I think these are things you need to test sometimes. You know, merge variations, see what happens with the increased review count. Do you increase sales? Do you increase conversion rates? And if not, you know, testing. Yeah. You know, alternatives. So Amazon.
And it's really individual because in some cases the existence of the variations making your listing to sell more.
Correct.
So yeah, it's everything. It's all we need to check. It's always try and see what the result.
Correct. And in this case, it's like different designs and some. You know, I would never recommend somebody split T-shirt sizes, right? Or you know things like that. But there's certain cases where you can make the argument for both having variations or not having variations. This is one of them.
Amazing. So guys, it was so interesting until now. I just want to talk a little bit about some interesting event that we will have soon, and you both related to this event. First of all, Marty, as a representative of Celix and Perpetua, and it happened with your sponsorship and with your help. We created the interesting event in very good restaurant in Tel Aviv about 3 weeks ago. About 30 people. We talked about Amazon with Eli Ventura and Tomer Rabinovich. If you know these guys, super professionals. It was super interesting. It was super tasty, delicious. Yoni been there from Getida. It was fun. Like we will post some photos soon. It was great. And one of the sponsors, besides Getida and I forgot the second. I just thought about other event, but Hanit will write now on the chat, I'm sure. But again, one of the sponsors was Perpetua, Celix, and I want to thank you for that. And the next event will happen very soon, like about end of July, maybe beginning of August. And Liran, you're coming to Israel soon, right?
Yes, I'll be in Israel in August.
In August, okay. So probably we will try to schedule it to August. And you're coming at 10 of August, right?
Yeah, coming on the 10th, and I'll be in Israel for almost 3 weeks.
And you will leave on 28th?
28th, yes.
28th, great. So we have 18 days to enjoy you. So we will invite you for sure to one of the events, and we have a lot lately after the Corona period, after the COVID.
Yes.
And after we were sitting at our houses and offices and we didn't see any people. We had a lot of conferences now, parties and restaurants, meetups. We're going to have a small event. It's not going to be small, actually, honestly. And the next Thursday in Rishon LeZion, in He-House, if somebody is interested, you can find information in the group. Hanit just posted yesterday, and you can register. And in general, I just want to thank you again, Marty. It was great. Thank you for the presentation, for the demo. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Enjoy in Germany. By the way, you like in relocation or just for pleasure? You living in Germany?
Yeah. I live in Germany permanently. This is my home now. So
it's like your home now.
Yeah.
Great. And Liran, still in New York, but soon in Israel. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And thank you, Amazon Nonstop. I just want to check before we finish if we had some question that I missed. No, I just can see that Ariel found the right question for the for the situation that you showed us with the product and for the graph in Keepa. And thank you to Ariel for the answer. And guys, if you will have any other questions, you can ask in the group. And I believe that Liran and Marty, please stay in our group. It's great. Trust me. They will answer you. And meanwhile, have a good night. Thank you for everything. And see you in the next webinar.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.